Okay, so our soap today, we are making, I'm going to call it a rose by any other name. We're using a fragrance oil from Brambleberry called Rose Gold, and I'm going to be using different shades of pink in a pink base, and then we're going to put some rosebuds on top. Hopefully it's going to be really pretty. I'm making this one kind of inspired by Mother's Day. I have someone who has commissioned me to make some soaps for their church's Mother's Day. So this is one that I was inspired by that. I was inspired by their commission to make this soap because I thought it would be perfect for Mother's Day. So that's what we'll be doing today, and I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll get started. Okay, so here we go with a rose by any other name. I've got my oils. They are I just tested, they're 89 degrees. And here's our goat's milk and lye solution. And we shall strain that as per usual. So, it is really late, for me anyway, to be making soap. It is like 8 o'clock, but it is like crazy times. So why should my business be any other way? But so like my shop is almost sold out of a lot of our soaps, except for the ones that we have just released, and customers who buy locally are telling me that my store locations that we have as wholesale customers are almost out, so they've been purchasing online instead. So I figured I have got to make soap, and I've actually made soap already today a couple of times, and this is just a new batch that we wanted to do a video of. It was scheduled to be later, but I've got to do it now. So, and it's also was inspired by a friend who wanted us to do a custom orders for Mother's Day, and it inspired me to go ahead and get this one ready for Mother's Day, because that was what my intention was. It should be ready and towards the end of April, and I believe Mother's Day is usually it's hard to do with my left hand. It's usually around my birthday, middle of May. So perfect timing for Mother's Day gifts, right? And this one will be all pink, and just pink swirls and roses on top, just gorgeous. But anyway, I've been so busy, had to make bread, which that is not something unusual. I usually make bread, so it doesn't bother me that the stores are out of bread. We usually only buy bread, and I usually buy only the sprouted organic stuff. It's in the freezer section if I do buy bread. But I needed to do that today, and besides having to make tons of soap, I needed to make bread, so we did that and got all that done. Whipped up some organic chocolate chip cookies, since my son is home from college more than usual. He's doing his classes online right now, so wanted to make him something special for while he's here. We do not eat sweet stuff very often. Not good for the immune system, but we are rationing ourselves. We make a big batch, but then I freeze most of it, so that way we're not tempted to eat more than we should. Or I should say the young people, because my son is like a cookie monster. But anyway, okay. I'm gonna use my new stick blender, my new KitchenAid. It has a really long shaft, which is really good for my bigger containers. So there we go. Got that all blended up. There we go. So this is the fragrance. It's called Rose Gold from Brambleberry. It does say that it has a tendency to discolor to a light tan. So I'm going to pour off a little bit into this container without any fragrance added to it. and we're going to add the fragrances a little at a time. This one is going to be for the top. So we'll pour that off and I will mix that in later. We're not going to add any fragrance to that. And then I'm going to pour these off because these are my swirls, and these will have fragrance added to them in a little bit. And then I'm going to color this, the Biggie Containy, with a different color of pink. Oh, and my air sanitizer just like freaked me out. Okay, so confused me too. Here's my container. So this one's going to get, this part of the batch is going to be completely pink. I want it to be a light pink so that the darker pinks that we have to swirl in, so that you can see them, obviously. So we'll get that mixed in. And depending on how dark this is, I'm gonna have to add some titanium dioxide mixed with water. And we'll just add a little bit. But anyway, so we made bread today. I make sprouted bread with sprouted grain that we grind ourselves. So this is not something I am new to, making bread and stuff myself, but I wasn't always very good at it. I was just remembering that it took me like several years before I could make a biscuit. I have made bread for a very long time. I learned how to make bread in high school, and then in college I lived at home and went to college, but my parents moved to where my college was. Did not make a lot of friends because I went to school at night and worked during the day. So when I was off, I was either at the library or I was at home, and I learned how to make bread, and I took care of my dogs and all that kind of stuff, and read a lot. So, but anyway, I really got into making bread, so I got pretty good at that. But biscuits I did not master for many years after I was married. My husband could do it, but I could not. So anyway, I do not suggest trying to learn how to make biscuits for your, at least if you want them to be fluffy, and if you go to Cracker Barrel, you want them to taste like that, although theirs do not taste the same as they used to. If you want a nice fluffy biscuit, it takes practice and a specific flour. We use the, it's not organic, but it is best for biscuits. It's White Lily flour. All right, that one's mixed in. Now we'll go ahead and add my fragrance to these as well. This one, it doesn't, to me, this doesn't smell a lot like rose. I'm not a rose fan. In particular, I absolutely despise the smell of roses, like the artificial smell of roses. I love roses. We have a little rose garden that we started when we moved here. But the artificial smell of roses, I do not. The fragrance or whatever smell, I have never liked. I think it reminds me of a funeral parlor. So I do not like it, but this does not smell like at all like rose to me. All right, I'll just mix the rest of that in with my little spatula. And then I think I want to add, these are very similar, so I'm going to add a little titanium dioxide to this one too. Kind of lighten it up a little bit. They're very similar. Oh, the colors, one is Heartbreaker by Nurture Soap. The main batch is Pink Vibrance from Nurture Soap, and then this one is a Rose Pearl Mica from Brambleberry. All right, so that looks pretty good. I wanted the shades to be really close to each other, but different enough that you could tell them apart in the swirl. So I think I've gotten that accomplished. All right, so now I gotta go ahead and I'll mix up my white batch over here. Oh goodness. Did that ever thicken up? I'm gonna go get a bigger bowl. Right, so I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more titanium dioxide to this because it is not at the color that I was looking for. And that's why I needed the bigger container, so I could get in there with my stick blender as little as possible before this gets too crazy solid on me. All right, so that is our top. We'll leave that. It's okay if it gets a little thick. And we will put this over here. Look at our mold. I'm using my Brambleberry mold. And we will get this layer, or the main batch, poured in. I don't think this is going to be quite as swirly as I anticipated. I'm going to try to pour from really high so I can get some swirls in there. And this soapy note said this one behaved very well, and I am soaping at low temperatures, so I'm not quite sure why it is moving quite so fast, but anyway, and I'm soaping at 30%, which is my usual. All right, so tap down. All right, so my top is just this is our natural portion that we mixed with just a little bit of titanium dioxide. Usually I would pour with a spatula, but this is not going to go anywhere. So I don't think I have to worry about it too much. But I still think it's going to look a lot like what I had envisioned, irregardless of its acceleration. So, where's my spoon? There's my spoon. So I'm going to pull up because I want to be able to see some of the pink that's underneath there. So we're just going to pull up with a spoon. And more so on just the one side. So because I don't want it to have too much of a peek because we're gonna put rose petals down here. All right, so these are just organic rose buds that I got off of Amazon. So, okie dokie. And then hold on, I'll be right back because I want to go see if I have some glitter I wanted to put on. This is, I believe it's wild strawberry bio glitter, eco-friendly glitter from Nurture Soap and one of their little dusters. And I just want to try to keep it just on the one side. And these sprayers make that a lot easier to accomplish than if you were trying to do it with a like tea strainer or something, or a little wire mesh strainer. All right, so that is it. This is a rose by any other name, all done, and we'll be back in about 24 to 48 hours to cut it and see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so we are back. Let us see what a rose by any other name looks like on the inside. It's a little sticky because I'm being impatient as usual, and it hasn't actually been 24 hours. It's probably been more like 16 hours because I made this last night, and it's only middle of the afternoon, so it has not yet been 24 hours, but I couldn't wait any longer. I wanted to see what this looked like on the inside. So what have y'all been doing in your self-quarantine? Hopefully you are self-quarantining, if that's a word, and staying inside so that we can protect the vulnerable. I am sure that anyone who is vulnerable would appreciate that greatly. So I'm going to cut off, I made one so I could have a little sample that actually included the rose in it. Oh wow, okay, so cool. I can see all the colors actually came out. The three distinct colors of pink, But it does smell amazing. I love this. I'm glad I tried it, even though it was called Rose. I'm very glad I tried it. This swirl, because this one actually said it was not going to accelerate trace, but it did get rather thick on me really quickly. So my drop swirl is not what I would want it. Didn't go all the way down, and I wasn't able to get a perfect swirl in there. But at least you can see the, I still think it turned out really well. And I am happy with that. And that's the, I'll get one of the other ones to show you the top where you can see the colors coming out with little glitter. It's a beautiful soap. I am really excited about that one. I can't wait for it to, I'm gonna have to put one of these in my own shower. But anyway, so that is Rose Gold, which we are calling a rose by any other name. It will be available towards the end of April. We will do an update on our Instagram and our Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram, Faith Farm Goats. On Facebook, it's Faith Farm Miniature Goats, and we have, of course, our website, which is faithfarmgoats.com. These will be available on our store towards the end of April, and we will let you know on Instagram and Facebook when our soap release, the new ones for the middle of spring, summer, will be released. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. It really helps us to be seen, so that you can help us to support our farm, help us to encourage others in homesteading, and we do that a lot on site. So I'm trying to bring people here to the farm so that I can assist them with raising dairy goats and bring awareness to homesteading and using dairy goats, miniature dairy goats specifically, on a miniature homestead like we have, which is 1.6 acres. You could do it on less. I have a friend who's getting ready to get started with dairy goats, and she has 1/3 of an acre. And we have lots of people who have done that in the past with miniature goats. So anyway, if you like, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos, and please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys are doing during this your self quarantine and what you're doing to keep busy. And I hope that y'all are staying healthy and well, and we will see you again.